As another week begins, another southern strike is on its way. The RMT union's members will walk out at midnight tonight in the long-running dispute over the role of guards. Today, the Transport Secretary blamed the union for the strike and suggested if Southern backs down, it could have huge implications for the whole rail network. Our political correspondent Simon Harris has the details.
Southern commuters were treated to what passes for a normal service today, but at midnight tonight, the coaches might as well turn into pumpkins as yet another three-day strike begins. In Parliament, the Transport Secretary gave his not entirely unbiased view on who's to blame.
The dispute appears to hang on this right now, that the union is insisting that if one of its members does not make it onto the train, that train should be cancelled and all the passengers slung off it.
For months, commuters have been caught in the middle of a row over the role of guards. Southern claims modern trains are safe with just a driver on board. The RMT says conductors are essential. A fortnight ago, Southern offered the striking guards £2,000 each to sign up to the new role of onboard supervisor. But there was a deadline, and by the time the RMT advised its members to accept, it was too late. The money had been withdrawn. Today, the £2,000 lump sum was once more on offer. The company wants the union to ask its members to take a vote.
We're in a situation where our members are saying to us they're not prepared to accept a bribe to sell jobs, to sell safety. We're in a situation...
Why won't you have a new vote?
Because at the end of the day, we're trying to make sure we keep a safety second critical person on every train.
If we have to accept the principle that the union should have the right to decide when a train is cancelled or when it isn't, that's a quite big step for the whole rail network, not just for this company.
MPs also wanted to know whether Southern should be stripped of its contract.
We're talking here about a service that has broken down, passengers can't get to their destinations, and the big question there is, has this company breached its terms of contract?
We are acutely aware that the position in relation to performance of the company and the service being provided to passengers is unsatisfactory. We're acutely aware of that.
But the minister ruled out handing Southern to another company or even Transport for London, insisting there was no quick fix. Simon Harris, ITV News.
The best of British athletes left the rain behind in Manchester to celebrate their record-breaking achievements in Rio in the chilly London sunshine this lunchtime. After yesterday's Northern Parade, today the party continued in Trafalgar Square. A double day of celebrations to mark both our Olympians and Paralympians coming second in the medals tables this summer. Right now, though, it's time for tea with the Queen. Simon Harris is at Buckingham Palace this evening. Simon, what a couple of days.
Nina, over the last 45 minutes, we've seen a procession of familiar Olympic and Paralympic faces arriving here at the Palace. Tonight's royal reception is the climax of 2 days of celebrations, which began, as you said, with yesterday's parade in Manchester, followed by today's lunch hour extravaganza in Trafalgar Square. The party in the square was a little more low-key than the Manchester parade, but a lot drier and a lot warmer, and it's from there that Amy Lewis now reports.
Let's hear it for our Team GB and Paralympics GB athletes.
Nowhere does this better than London. The capital can throw quite a party. Britain's Olympic and Paralympic medalists were given a hero's welcome. They, in return, put on a spectacular show.
Okay. Max Whitlock, everyone!
Rugby Sevens captain Tom Mitchell lives in Wandsworth and guided Britain to silver in Rio.
So great for us as athletes to have a chance to share, the celebrations with everyone who got behind us while we were out there. And it was something we didn't realise until we got back just how much people were buying into it out there during the course of the Games.
46 of the Olympic and Paralympic medalists in Rio are from London. Tom Daley wasn't born here, but he says his heart is in the capital.
Today was awesome, and it's so great to have people come out. And London to me is like a very special place. You know, it's now my home. It's where I train. It's where I spent the last 2 years training towards getting to the Olympic Games, and it's where I'm going to stay for the next 4 years and train. So, to me, it's home.
These fans stayed up throughout the night to watch Britain's summer of sporting achievement. Everyone had a message for the athletes. Just like yesterday's parade in Manchester, there was an outpouring of pride and patriotism. Well, it may be the second day of celebrations, but once again, thousands of people have turned up to give Britain's Olympians and Paralympians the warmest of welcomes. Michael Byrne missed work in Watford to be here. There was no missing him.
I phoned my boss and said I'm stuck in Trafalgar Square. I've got Union Jack shoes, Union Jack socks, Union Jack trousers, Union Jack belt, waistcoat, watch, cufflinks.
6,000 fans rammed into Trafalgar Square and many more squeezed into the surrounding streets.
I've been always wanted to come here, and now my teacher said it's the first time in my whole life I'm going to be here, so I'm just going to enjoy, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your outfit.
Oh, this is just my cycling one. Yeah, this is for PT, for the swimmer. Yes, so I'm wearing this for Laura Trott, who I see at the velodrome at Stratford a lot.
This was a very British event for Britain's elite athletes, and if the procession wasn't enough, there's a party with the Queen at Buckingham Palace still to come.
I'm buzzing, I'm looking forward to it, man.
What are you going to say to her?
I haven't thought of that, but...
Have you been practicing your curtsy?
No, but hopefully I'll just give her like a nice handshake, a little nod and a little bow.
It's such an honour to go along and to be with all of these amazing athletes. It's so incredible.
It has been an incredible summer for London's athletes, and there is still plenty more to celebrate. Amy Lewis, ITV News.
Here at Buckingham Palace, the royals have arrived at the reception in the ground floor staterooms behind me. There are 240 guests enjoying drinks and canapes, most of them athletes, along with a handful of officials from the Olympic and Paralympic movements like Lord Sebastian Coe, as well as the Prime Minister. But tonight is about Rio winners, and all of the athletes are medalists. I spoke to some of them on their way in.
Oh, this is an absolute honour. I've literally got goose pimples on my skin, ready to go inside here today. Yeah, I'm really, really excited. I can't wait to get in there and meet the Queen.
Tonight is one of those special occasions that your money can't buy this. You can't train for it. You can't work towards it. It's just an honour that you get because we've achieved medals at the Olympic Games, and it's a huge pleasure. I went after London Olympics 4 years ago, and it was one of my highlights of all the things you get invited to, all the awards dinners, all the film premieres, all these sort of things. For me, coming to Buckingham Palace was definitely my favourite one.
It was very grand. It's what you kind of expect of like the Buckingham Palace. So wouldn't mind our own, innit? Any room would be fine.
The reception, of course, is being hosted by the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge are here along with other royals. And of course, the royal family has long connections with the Olympic movement. The Queen opened the 2012 Games. Her granddaughter, Zara Phillips, won a medal. And the Princess Royal is a member of the International Olympic Committee. The party here at the Palace will go on for another hour and a half. Nina.
Simon Harris, thank you. Just over a year ago, the then Justice Secretary Michael Gove described Pentonville Prison as the most dramatic example of failure within the prison system. Now there's evidence of just how bad things have become after a prisoner was stabbed to death there yesterday. Today, the victim's family told our correspondent Simon Harris they are angry that this was allowed to happen, while inmates released today described their shock about the death and the conditions inside.
I miss him so much. I miss him so much.
Hawa Mahmood's grief is raw. Her son Jamal has just been stabbed to death in prison, somewhere she thought he was safe.
You would think that your brother's in safe hands, you know, and it's just like to hear that he did have to die that way alone, where we thought he would be safe. Just it really hurts us, and everyone's just in pieces, as you can see.
Jamal Mahmood was 21, the father of a young son. He was also part of a dangerous North London gang. He was serving a sentence at Pentonville Prison in Islington after a machine gun was found hidden in a garden. Yesterday, he was one of 3 men stabbed in G-Wing. The other 2 are critically ill. Another 2 men are under arrest. The safety and comfort of prisoners played no part in the design of Victorian jails like Pentonville. But this one in particular has a long history of appalling conditions, highlighted time and again in report after report. Inmates being released today all told a similar story.
You know, the showers are disgusting, the cells are disgusting, so it's not a place to be. I'm not coming back there again. Hopefully not anyway.
What's it like in there?
This is what it's like. The kettle, that was a burn from a kettle.
Deliberately?
I grabbed it and the lid just came off. So after 3 or 4 tries, at the end, after begging, I was seen by a nurse.
Danny Ryan grew up with Jamal Mahmood. He too has served time in Pentonville and thinks behind the walls, gang culture is rife.
It's just street stuff, innit? It's just everyone postcode stuff, man. I think it's just London, Nick, innit? There's a lot of London gangs, so everyone from different areas, South London, East London, West, they're all coming.
The local MP is in no doubt. Pentonville should be closed permanently.
It is unsafe. It is rat infested. It was built in 1842. It is an absolute shame on our country that we continue to put people into prison. I believe if you commit a crime, your liberty should be taken away. But that is enough. You should not be subjected to the conditions that people are subjected to in Pentonville Prison today.
Jamal Mahmood's family had begun to believe he was a changed man, determined to leave behind his criminal past. They will never know.
Michael Gove talked about closing this prison. The local Labour MP we've just heard there backs that call. What's the current government likely to do about it?
Well, it was July last year that Michael Gove, as Justice Secretary, vowed to close Victorian jails, said Pentonville's problems were more acute than anywhere else, and as you say, a dramatic example of failure. I've been looking back at reports going back over a decade, and they all say the same thing. Inspectors concluding that it's squalid, inhuman, infested with vermin and somewhere prisoners can easily get hold of drugs. But of course, Michael Gove lost his job in the post-Brexit reshuffle. We've tried to get an answer from the Ministry of Justice about future plans for Pentonville. They have not come back and replied to us.
Simon, thank you.
4 of London's most wanted men are being hunted on the Costa del Sol in Spain. Among them, Jamie Acorn, one of the suspects in the murder of Stephen Lawrence, who's wanted for alleged drugs offences. Also on the list, Shane O'Brien, who's accused of murdering a man in a bar in Hillingdon. Simon Harris has our report.
At Josh Hanson's home, there are reminders of him everywhere, pictures and trophies. There are also stacks of leaflets in different languages, all bearing the word murder and offering a reward. It's more than a year since he was stabbed to death at a bar at Pinner in North London. And for more than a year, police have been searching without luck for this man, Shane O'Brien.
You just think in everyday life something as horrific as this happens, the man the police would like to speak to would be spoken to. And that's what we feel living in our society. We want to believe that we're safe and protected and things are, put right, if you like. And that didn't happen and still hasn't happened.
Shane O'Brien is one of 4 Londoners named on a wanted list today by the National Crime Agency. They include Jamie Acorn, one-time suspect in the Stephen Lawrence murder and now accused of drug dealing. Mark Acklam, said to be a conman who duped a woman into a romance and out of £850,000. And Matthew Salmon, a suspected paedophile from Croydon. All are thought to be hiding out under false identities in Spain. The NCA wants the help of expats and holidaymakers. Before any of the fugitives can be brought to justice, they first have to be found and caught. That's proving hard enough. But there are real fears that after Britain leaves the EU, extraditing wanted criminals from Europe will be even more difficult. Members of the European Union are signed up to the European Arrest Warrant, designed to make it easier for the police to get their hands on crooks in other countries. But will it survive Brexit?
It could be back to the bad old days when the criminals languished on the Costa del Sol and put up 2 fingers to British justice. So the issue at stake is, are we going to be able to catch criminals and put them behind bars? And if we can't, well then there's no justice for the victims.
The Spanish coast used to be known as the Costa del Crime. Today, it is still a favoured hideout for British crooks on the run. Simon Harris, ITV News.
Next tonight, disability campaigners have joined the long-running dispute with Southern Rail. They argue if Govia Thameslink changed the role of conductors, some stations could become no-go areas for passengers with disabilities. More from our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
Alan Benson travels by train almost every day. Without guards, he says, he'd be stranded. Mr Benson is chair of the disability rights campaign Transport for All, and he's appalled at Southern's plan to scrap conventional guards.
Even stations that are staffed, you rely on the guards to give you the assistance. to get on and off the trains. So if the stations aren't staffed, that's going to prevent people from being able to use them at all. So it absolutely is going to make large parts of the network no-go areas.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome on board the 1300 hours Gatwick Express service to London Victoria.
Until last month, Wendy Holmes was a ticket inspector on trains run by Southern's sister company Gatwick Express. Now she's one of the new onboard supervisors, the role the striking guards are being forced to take on against their wishes. She agrees trains need more than just a driver.
I think for the passengers, I think it's very important. They feel a lot more comfortable that there's somebody else on the train, somebody that's, you know, available to assist them should they need it, and just basically them knowing that there is somebody else on the train that they can call on if there is an issue.
In a statement, Southern insisted, we'll have a dedicated second safety-trained member of staff rostered to work each and every train where we currently have a conductor who is freed up from closing the doors to concentrate on helping all our passengers, including those with disabilities.
The onboard supervisors may be able to help with access if they're aware that a person needs some help on the train or on the station. And unless they step off the train at every station, like guards do at the moment, then they might miss the fact that there's somebody waiting to get on the train.
Southern also wants the flexibility to run trains without an onboard supervisor if there isn't one available. And that is the issue at the heart of the dispute, which will see another strike 2 weeks from today. Simon Harris, ITV News.